Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Today we have a fairly large rocket. It's actually probably the biggest one that I've ever made in this career mode series. Now for those of you who are new, this is a career mode series that has been going on for a fair amount of time. You don't have to start from the beginning, you can watch each episode independently. But in this episode we are sending up a massive part of the station. You can see that the fairing is like half the size of the actual rocket, which is actually becoming pretty common for me at this rate. But anyway, this is the engine stage. This is part of the station that I'm building in orbit of one of the moons. And the reason why the rocket is so big is because this stage is completely fully fueled, nuclear engines and all, and I will reveal it when I get into orbit. But this is the final part of the station, I believe. I think there's just one more craft that I need to actually put in the hangar that we attached last episode. But apart from that, we're pretty much good to go. Now we're getting a little bit of wobble, so I'm gonna have to there's a part down here which isn't strutted. Which one is it? They're all strutted. What? Stop wobbling. All right, I'm gonna slow down a fair bit. This is gonna be quite a complicated launch for me. Our apoapsis is already 69,000. Perfect number, perfect number. Now for those of you who are new to this series, because I imagine some of you might be if you've been watching my Kerbal Space Program bot series, this is my planet pack that I've been spending 2 years creating. It's called Beyond Home, and I'm just doing a career mode series in it. It's going really well. I'm really enjoying it, and I just love making these massive stations. But anyway, it's time to reveal what's inside the fairing. Alright, so here is the engine. It's this little bit here with this massive nuclear engine on the back. I think it's called the Cherenkov engine. It's a 2.5 meter nuclear engine. Not sure what mod adds it. I think it's Restock, but I can't be entirely sure. Anyway, it's supported by this frame so that I can actually maneuver it into place on the station. So we've got a nice little command pod down here. This part's going to dock with the back of the station, hopefully, provided there's room, because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with everything else that's connected. But this is going to be the engine, and with it fully fueled and docked to the station, it should give the station around 6,000 meters per second of usable fuel. So without further ado, I think it's time to set a course for the station. Now the station's around this moon over here called Ash. It's the third moon of Road, which is the home planet, and it just orbits Ash for the moment. It's in quite a high orbit around it, but after docking this engine stage, I think it's time we set course for Kerbal. And now it's time to do the burn. I've missed doing this career mode series. It has been a while, and the reason for that is because I've been doing the Kerbal Space Program bot series. People really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed doing that as well, and hopefully you guys who were watching this series before enjoyed it too. Anyway, you can see that I have 8,600 meters per second on this engine stage alone. Now this contains all of the fuel. You can see the fuel tanks. There's a lot of them. There's a bloody lot of them. So that's where most of the fuel tanks on the station are going to actually be. Now the only problem is actually fueling the damn station, because I'm not sure. I can't guarantee that it's fully fueled, and I might need to actually refuel it myself at some point. But anyway, let's go to the station, and we'll deal with our problems when we come to them. And there we are, leaving Road behind to meet with Ash. And there's Ash just over there. Now we've got to rendezvous with the station, and yes, Bob Kerman is still out here. I'll get him one day, trust me, I'll get him one day. With life support, he's just screwed. He would be dead by now. But it's okay, he's resilient. Just because I don't know how to handle a space program doesn't mean that he doesn't. So the separation is going to be 40 kilometers, and that's because my inclination's not matched up. But apart from that, it looks like we're going to be pretty close to actually rendezvousing with the station. We're going to be cutting it pretty close for fuel. I mean, the relative speed is about 209, and then we've also got the inclination change to do, so we should be alright with the fuel that we've got. Now, you'll think that I have a lot of fuel on the engine, but I really don't want to have to refuel even more of the station. So I'm just going to try and attach the engine to the station fully fueled already, which means I have a lot less to do, and I have a lot more fuel. My space program, it's doing pretty well for itself right now. Money for the space program isn't really an issue, but I still want to unlock that Lua base, and I've been saying that throughout the entire series. I really want to unlock the base on Lua, but you know, priorities. I want to go visit Kerbal, and I know you all want to see me go as well, so that's kind of what I'm doing so far. So 10 kilometer separation is actually pretty good. It has 3 big 2.5 meter reaction wheels, but it still takes a very long time to turn. And now you can see how big the engine actually is compared to the rest of the craft. It's bigger. It's bigger than the rest of the craft. I'm really happy to be making a station that's actually this big. It's like, I don't even know how many parts it is now. I need to actually reconstruct it in the VAB and see how many parts it actually is. And there's the station down there. We have a separation of 1.9 kilometers. We're at its closest approach, so I'm going to target prograde, and we're going to do a nice little rendezvous, and then it's time to dock. For those of you who are wondering, Ash is a lava planet. Now, yes, if you go in the lava, you will explode. There's no doubt about that. But it's a very rocky lava planet. There are some structures on its surface that I think I have showed off in an earlier episode, but I've not showed off the new ones because they have changed since episode 3, I think. The reason why I built the frame around the engine is because there's no other way to put the RCS thrusters on, and I really don't want them on the engine either because it just looks ugly. There's not really a place for them. So my options were to put RCS on the tanks down here and not have any control at the top. But I decided, you know what, no, let's not do that. Let's build got a frame, which means I can actually maneuver it in all dimensions, all axes. But it just gives me that little bit more control over the payload this time. Because when I was docking the hangar, I didn't have that, and I was really struggling to line it up correctly. But anyway, here's the station. Hello. It did the thing. It did the thing. It does it every single time. I don't know what the problem is, but there's just this really annoying bug in Kerbal Space Program. It's just like, yeah, you know what, your station? It's mine now. It's mine now. The Kraken. It's all the revenge for all of those plugins that I've been making. Anyway, here we are. We have arrived at the station. Now it's time to dock with the back. So I've actually put it on the wrong side. Frick. Ooh, hold on. Now, I didn't realize this, but we forgot to actually eject this part. Thankfully, that's a stack separator, but the problem is now that's in the way of the docking port. Oh, actually, no, this could be really good. This could be really good. Hold on. If I control from here, and then I set this one as the target, and then I face it, we're just going to do it this way. Valentino, who's on board, has no experience at all. So we're just going to face the target. We're just going to rotate the station round. You know what? I don't even care. Oh, but this is going to be like the biggest long boy you've ever seen when this is done. It's going to be an absolute chonker. Now, the only problem is I've said this before in a previous episode, but there's like, I normally have these guidelines. I have other docking ports on here as well for me to line up with, but this time I don't. I just have one, which means I can dock to it with any rotation. The problem is the engine module is rotation specific, because if we look at the engine module, you can see that it's rotation specific, because these have to line up properly, otherwise it just won't look right. We're going to set that docking port as the target, and we're going to start facing it. I can then set this docking port as the target and face it properly this time, which means without having to actually translate my craft in space, all I have to do is rotate them both to face each other, and then all I've got to do is go forward. So really the frame wasn't very necessary, was it? There we go, see? They're facing each other now. All I've got to do is properly line it up. This is so cool. I love just doing these massive stations like this. And I know there's not much happening in this episode today, but wow, you know, it's just so cool watching these huge things come together. All right, so that's pretty much lined up. I'm going to line it up vertically with the camera so that this bit's facing properly upwards. So that's about done, which makes it a lot easier for me because now I can just line this up vertically with the camera as well. And now we watch. I'm just going to switch to the station real quick, and I just need to move the docking port very slightly. There we go. That's looking fit. That's looking good. That's looking bloody gorgeous. That looks like it's going to line up perfectly. Almost perfectly. It's not quite, but it should do the job. Hopefully the magnets do it. Come on, we're docking in front of Ash. This is great. See, it's not quite perfect, but it did the job. It's so close. It's so close. I don't think the magnets did it there, did they? I'm gonna have to go forwards again, aren't I? You can't get more perfect than... actually, yeah, you can. That should be good, right? I'm just not seeing... Like, that is perfect. There we go. I was gonna say that is perfect, but it just didn't seem like it was. It just wasn't docking. But yeah, look at that. That's the entire station. I'm just gonna disconnect the stage below now. And the only engine that's active for some reason is this one. So I'm gonna shut that one down. I'm gonna pump all the fuel from all of this into the station at some point. And this is giving us 4,200 meters per second. I don't know why it's increasing, I'll be honest. Not a clue. Haven't the foggiest. Oh, there we go. The engines work fine, and we're away. Oh, that's fantastic. And there we go. That's the entire station with this stupid probe core in the way. I think it's time we get rid of these extra modules for the moment. And is there anyone actually in there? I don't think so. Oh, Bill's in there. Okay. Well, now he's in one of the habitation rings, which means this stage... That stage can go. And we've got a little bit of refueling to do. I don't know how much fuel we actually have in this. Yeah, so we're missing fuel out of these parts here. Some of the liquid fuel fuselages on the station as well. I imagine... Actually, all of these have fuel. The engine's fully fueled, apart from oxidizer, because we don't have oxidizer. If we have oxidizer... Big no-no, big no-no. We don't want oxidizer. We just want liquid fuel. So we can pump all of the oxidizer out, but we're going to do that on the refueling ship that's going to dock and actually fuel everything. And now, finally, it's time to undock this one. There's no crew in there, I don't think. There is crew in there. So I'm going to transfer her to one of the storage containers. I am going to completely just say goodbye to this one, to be honest. I think we should undock it now. Undock. And there we go. And here it is. This is the station without any of its modules. This is it. This looks great. Hopefully, this is the completed station and it's ready to go to Kerbal. It just needs fuel. Now with 4,500 meters per second, it can absolutely make it, which is incredible, which is good. It doesn't have any ore, but it does have ore processing, which means we're going to put some ships in here. We're going to put a refueler in. We're going to put something just to make this station self-sustaining, provided nothing actually goes wrong. So that's going to be really cool. But yeah, anyway, this is the completed station. I am so happy to actually have it done. I set out many episodes ago to make a mothership that would take a lot of ships, a lot of Kerbals, a lot of science experiments to the Kerbal system, and this is the first one to make it. It has been an incredible journey building this station, and it's by no means finished, because there are so many more modules that we can potentially add, but for the moment, we're going to send it on its mission to Kerbal, potentially in the next episode, and it's going to be absolutely amazing to see the actual journey that it's going to make, where it's going to go. It's probably going to go to a lot of places. It has a lot of potential, it has a lot of fuel, and but anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Kerbal Space Program Beyond Home. It has been an episode a little bit quieter, not as much going on, but hopefully you all still enjoyed it anyway. But if you are new and you did like that, please be sure to subscribe, leave a like, share the video, because it really helps me get out there. I'll put a link to the playlist from episode 1 in the video description and at the end of this video. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.